Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. This podcast was designed to let you know that you aren't the only one that took forever to get it together. So the rabbit hole that you have stumbled down will hopefully help you understand that just when you think it's over, it's only the beginning. Just because you were dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you have to keep it. Welcome to the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.
Hey, what's going on? Happy Saturday, man. This is another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, man. It is your boy, the guru, me, the man, numero uno. Terry in the building, man. Listen, this is episode 15 of The Origin. Now, I am trying to also do this episode live on Instagram, on my Instagram page, the Knucklehead Chronicles. I don't know if it's working. I don't know, there's nobody in here, so I can't really tell if they can hear it or whatever. So I'm just going to roll on. Hey, this is episode 15. The story gets deeper. Well, it's starting to turn around. The story is starting to turn around. So if you listen to any of the other episodes, right, and you have stumbled upon this one, and you don't know how you got here, I'm gonna need for you to back all the way up, and I'll go back to the whatever chapter you stopped on. And start over because you don't want to miss any parts because all these stories are interconnected. So you have to be on top of the story to be able to follow, right? So we're in chapter 15 now. If you listen to episode 14, I was living with my daughter's baby's daddy, who was a narcissistic asshole. I was so torn because I couldn't, I was living with him, right? But he was beating on my daughter. So it was, it was like, and I didn't want to, cause it was just the whole big thing. So we're going to jump into episode 15. Now, in this episode, things kind of start turning around. Not so much though. I think in this part of my life I dealt with a lot of loneliness in this area. Well, a lot of 90% of my past was lonely, but that's neither here nor there. So I told you guys last time I moved out, and I went back to the hotel just because I felt a level of comfort in this hotel, even though I was lonely. I still felt a level of comfort. So went back to the hotel, and I tried to live life as usual. Right, go to work. I actually tried to date someone. Again, it's kind of hard to do that when you're living in a hotel. It's kind of hard to tell somebody, saying you're struggling. You try a woman anyway. It doesn't matter if she's black, white. Doesn't make a difference. You try to tell somebody, yeah, I'm really down on my luck. I'm really struggling. I'm living in this hotel. Do you want to come and see me? There's like people don't do that. So it was hard, but I had a young lady I was kind of digging, and then it just went left. But I had a friend, and this is a story. This episode is dedicated to my friend Courtney. Courtney and I had met years later. I met Courtney in the days of Minnie Pearl, way back in the day, and we met. I'm gonna tell you how I met Courtney. I met Courtney, me and my best friend Sharon, at the time, and he's still my best friend. But at the time, me and Sharon we was playing softball or basketball. I can't remember what we was doing, and then we went through. We were hungry, and so we went through the drive-through at Arby's. Down on North Tryon Street in Charlotte, so anybody know anything about that. And so Courtney was working the drive-through this one particular day, and I thought her voice was amazing. So I, through the drive-through, and so we instantly became friends. I became a regular at this Arby's drive-through, just so I can hear her voice, right? And so, me and Courtney and I we've been friends for years. I mean, it's been years. I watched both of her kids grow up. Her kids are grown now, and I watched both of her kids grow up, and it's amazing to see. We remain friends. But in this juncture, and the reason why I put her in this story is because she was part of the story, right? So there's one point where I was living in a hotel, and they had kicked me out for the last time, and I was living with a young lady who I used to work with. Name was Candace, and I was living with Candace and another young lady, and I was just really struggling at this point. And I ran into Courtney somewhere. I can't remember where I ran into. I can't remember now. But so we started, we started back up dating, but it was just like a fling type of situation. And we've always been friends, but there was also a physical side of it as well. But we decided that we're just going to take it slow and just be friends or whatever. And then I was living with Candace, and Courtney was like, one day, won't we get a place together? Won't you come and move in with me? And I was like, I don't know. Because like I said, me and Courtney been friends for years. It's been a friendship thing for years, and it's like I said friendship. There was also a physical side of it, but it was just, I cared more about her friendship than anything. So I said, you know what, let's do it, and we got this place together, and we lived together for a little bit, and things didn't always, I didn't always handle my business, there were some shortcomings, extreme shortcomings when it came to Courtney and the situation. But as you can see, if you listen to any of the other episodes, as you can see, that's kind of that's kind of par for the course. And because I always did that, because it was just I didn't know what to do about anything. And I tell you, and I do a little short little segue here is that Courtney is one of those friends that you want to keep in your corner, no matter what it is that's going on. You want to keep that kind of friend in your corner, because Courtney was one of those people that she would tell you how she felt. She did not care about your feelings. I mean, she didn't do she did nothing to me in a malicious sort of way. But she meant business, right? You knew she meant business, and so we just rolled that way, and we've been friends, like I said, 20 plus years. It's always been, it's always been a friendship there. So me and Courtney, we dated. We lived together for a short time. Like I said, I had my shortcomings. Things were not the way that she probably planned it. There was things that I didn't plan it, and it just happened. It just happened, and it was one of those things. It was like, okay, let's do it, But one day it was enough. Enough was enough, and it was that tired. So the dating side of our relationship ended. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that remained was our friendship. Our friendship has always been dope. To this day, I can call Courtney up and say, "What's up, best friend?" and answer them what's going on, and we'll have conversations for an hour, because that's the kind of friendship that we had. I'll tell you, a lot of the growing up that I did in my life, in that juncture of my life, came from no one other than Courtney. Because Courtney was an avid reader. She was always self learning. She was, everything she learned, she read in a book, and life lessons and things of this nature. Losing her dad, and brother was in prison for a time. So it was a lot of situations going on in her life that I was there for as a friend. And there's situations that's in my life that she was there for me as a friend. It's always been that tight, right? So a lot of the growing up, a lot of that really first swift kick in my ass that I needed at that juncture in my life came from Courtney. And when I tell you, it was not just a regular swift kick, it was a kick in the back of my spine. Like, you need to get your shit together and get it together, like right now. Like, while we having this conversation, you need to go ahead and get into that. I'll see if I can say this on Instagram. I don't think I can. Hold on. I just really want to see if I can get her in here, because here she is. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it was that juncture in my life, and and we as a people, we have all gotten to that place in our life to where we've needed someone to give us that swift kick, and just never got it, right? And so we stay stagnant in the game because we didn't have that one person, you know. And I was blessed enough to have Courtney in my life is that one person that was like, Terry, you can't do this. You can't continue to be like this, right? You cannot. And I was like, well, but why can't, and I always made excuses. I always did something crazy. And she was at every turnaround, every chance that she got, every chance that she could, she would tell me, you suck. And as much as I didn't want to hear it, as much as we fought about it, now we fought on the physical end. We never fought as friends. But we do on the physical, and it was just like, you stupid. Why are you doing this? Like, why are you so bad with this? Why are you this? And that was that swift kick, right? But I didn't want to accept it as a swift kick. I took it as she was nagging me. I took it as, why you being a bitch? That's what that was. Kind of. I've never called her a bitch to her face. I'm not calling her a bitch now. I'm just, that was the thought in my head. Like, why you being a bitch? But I tell you, Courtney set me up with that swift kick to be the man that I am today. And it wasn't all just her. It was me. I had to put in some work too. But because any situation that we've ever been into, you can attest to one point or another in time that took you to a place. I swear, nothing's working. Okay, there it is. So there's always a place in time that you can always count your roots back to. You can go back to the beginning and be like, okay, I remember this. This aspect is what started this. Because everything in life is a chain reaction, right? So it all has to start somewhere. It's just like a problem. There's a root to every single problem. Problems just don't pop up in your life and you just go, you know what? Now I'm a problem. No, there's a root. There's a root cause. Like, if we have daddy issues or mommy issues or whatever, that's the root. Those are the root issues. And because we don't touch those, and because we don't really delve into those, that's the reason why we struggle. That's the reason why we struggle, because we don't recognize the root cause. For me, I remember my root cause, and my root cause goes all the way back to when I turned 16 years old. And so that was years ago, right? That was my root. But the path, or the beginning of the path, because they say that the journey of 1,000 miles start with one step, right? Or the first step. And that first step for me was Courtney jumping in my shit and being like, you know what? You need to get your shit together for real. You're my friend. I want to see you happy. And Courtney, like I said, Courtney's always been there. Courtney was there so much, in fact, that when I got married to my third wife, my current wife, she was at my wedding. My best friend flew from North Carolina to Idaho to see me get married. Someone that at one point we had feelings for, whatever, a long time ago. But the fact remained that we remained friends. She got on the plane, came all the way to North Carolina to meet me. That's besides the point. That's later on down the road in another episode. But in this episode, this is how I met my current. Okay, just in case anybody ever didn't know how I met my current. I met my current wife back in 2011 when I lived in, I was with Strawberry, living in Illinois, working at Walmart, right? But we never dated, or we never had any kind of extra communication outside of Walmart or even Facebook for that matter. So one day, this is after me and Courtney broke up. I'm sleeping on Courtney's couch because she had to put me out of her bed. She was like, nope, you can't stay in my bed no more. You done, right? So I'm sleeping on Courtney's couch, and, at this point in time, I was really deep in the dumps in here, and this is in 2016, and I really, this is when I discovered podcasting and live streaming in 2016, and I got onto this app called Periscope, and Periscope is long gone by now, but we like I said, made friends. So one day I was at work, right, in 2016, and Melissa sent me, my wife, she sent me a Facebook inbox message, and she said, "Hey, how you doing?" This is in maybe December of 2015, and I was like, ain't nothing going on. I ain't dating nobody, whatever. And she was like, are you dating somebody? I'm like, no. Are you? She's like, no. And we started talking. Well, it was just text messaging and things of this nature. And so she decided she wanted to come down and see me. This is I'm in North Carolina. She's in Illinois. And so we made plans. She comes down February or March of 16. And we have, she brings the kids with her, because at the time she only has Araya and Javante. The time she came, and so she came down, and we had a great time that weekend. It was Araya's birthday weekend, so we stayed at one of the fancier hotels, and we took her to get her ears pierced. And it was, we still have memories of that now. We still Facebook, thank you. We still have memories of that, and so, but the whole time. Really didn't think a lot of it. Didn't think that things were going to escalate the way they did. Right? So the weekend's over. She goes back to Illinois. I go back to my hotel, and at the time I'm living in another hotel at this time. See the pattern? So she goes back home. That's kind of in there. But we kept in communication. We didn't make anything official until like the second visit, I think, if I remember correctly. And she had to correct me and she probably will correct me. So we made it official, right? Started dating, right? But we were doing it long distance. So after the first visit, we were good to go. I think I fell in love with her after the first visit. And then I went up to see her in May of 2016 because it was her birthday. So we go, she flies me up. I go catch her at the airport. We go stay at her brother's house, and it was her birthday. I think I made her breakfast or something at her brother's house. And it was just one of the beginning stages, right? But at this point in my life, I was trying to get things together. I had something developing with, with Melissa, and I was slowly coming back to reality in my life. I had made so many mistakes. I was very mindful of what I was doing, right? I was taking it step by step. And I remember talking to Courtney, and Courtney was like, "Boy, you better go for that." You know what I'm saying? If she makes you happy, go for it, And I did. And I think it was one of the best decisions that I made, right? So at this point in the game, she's talking about moving down to North Carolina to be with me. And I was like, well, shoot, I don't want you to come. I wanted her to come because I wanted to be with her just as bad as she wanted to be with me, but I just didn't want to start off our relationship living in a hotel. I just didn't want that. I knew probably we would get to where we would have our own spot eventually, but I didn't want to start out with living in a hotel. So she was like, I don't care. I want to be with you. We made the plans. She had got a storage unit down here. She was bringing stuff, and she was putting stuff in the storage unit, and it was moving like way fast, right? But at that time in the game, she did this multi-level marketing business. She was doing this thing called Lavelle. And the Lavelle is based out there in Washington State and the Pacific Midwest out there, Idaho and all that. So her best friend, who she met once at a conference in Texas, They became really close, and when we was thinking about deciding whether she was coming to me or I was going to her or whatever, we know what we was doing. Her best friend was like, "Hey, did she put us all in the group chat together?" And she was like, "Hey, you guys should move down here over here to Idaho, and let's start your life together. Why start your life in a deficit when you can come down here and and get your game up and all that?" And so I was very skeptical about moving to Idaho. A black man, Idaho, who? Who knew nothing about that? So I said, my first question out of her mouth, the first question out of my mouth to her was, "Where the hell is Idaho? I have no idea where Idaho is." Because only because I flunked geography, so I knew nothing of where Idaho was, and so looked on the map, find out where Idaho was. And my second question was, how many black people are in Idaho? Those are my general two questions right there. Where's Idaho? And how many black people there? So we ended up, changing plans, changing course. Not going. She did not come to North Carolina. She came to North Carolina to pick me up, and empty out her storage unit. And we decided to move to Idaho. Now these are people. Now we moved to Idaho on the strength of people we didn't really know. I didn't know them. She did, But I remember having a conversation with Courtney because I was still sleeping on her couch, before all this happened. And no, because I was in the hotel and I got kicked out of the hotel. I went back to Courtney's couch. But anyways, that's besides the point. So we decided to go to Idaho. Now let me tell you something, about making decisions like that. That took you talk about a leap. You hear people say, you gotta take a leap of faith. You gotta just jump out there. It's a leap of faith, this and that. No, it's not a leap. That's a whole catapult shot out of a cannon. You know what I'm saying? That's what that was. Because I didn't know nobody in Idaho. I didn't even know Melissa. I mean, we knew each other as far as the physical aspect of it. We didn't know each other, but we went because we wanted to be together. And you have to. And I never asked her this, and it's because it's not my business. Because I had to have my own. I was dealing with, and when we started our trek from North, because what happened was she was still in Illinois, I was still in NC, sleeping on Courtney's couch, and she said, when we decided to move to Idaho, this is what happened. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna close it. She jumps in her minivan, her and her two kids. They leave Illinois. Now she was living with her mother at the time. She leaves Illinois. She drives the 13, 14 hours to North Carolina to get me. I take my two duffel bags, right? And because all I had, I think at the time I was living in Courtney, I had two duffel bags. I take my two duffel bags, put them in the minivan. Now her van's loaded. It's her and two kids. And she picks me up. We stay the night at the hotel down in North Carolina. We then pack up. We leave. We drive back to Illinois, right, to her mom's, so she can get the rest of her stuff out of her mom's house. And we leave sometimes Saturday. It was a Saturday. Sometimes like noon on a Saturday afternoon. We leave, and then we drive all the way to Sioux City, Iowa, to her cousin's house, right? Stayed there for a couple of hours, and whatever. We drive through the night. We get to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Sometime Sunday morning, right? Went to McDonald's, got something to eat, and then we trekked on in Idaho. Got into Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho, Sunday about 2:00, if I remember correctly. And that started the journey. Now, mind you guys, I had a job before I left North Carolina. One of the girls in the North Level marketing business knew a girl that worked in a casino. So they were so tight together with the casino. The lady in the casino got me a job before I even left North Carolina. So I was like, all right, cool. So I had a job starting there. That was the most daunting thing ever in life. So it's not, when people say it's a leap of faith, no, it's not. It's like a cannonball. It's like a cannonball shot, because I'm almost 3,000 miles. 3,000 miles away from anybody that knew my name. And with a woman that I really did not know, who I loved, I would say at that point in time, probably lusting more than love, right? Because I didn't know her. And she didn't know me. I think it was the same thing on her end. But so we start this life in Idaho. Things started looking up, right? We moved in with one of the guys from the multi-level marketing business. We go and we live in his basement. You know, kids going to school there. You know, and life was starting to make sense. And then we moved out to Jackpot, Nevada. I was already working at the casino, but we got the Jackpot because they had on-campus housing. So we moved out of the basement and then moved to Jackpot. Stayed in Jackpot for a few months, not long. Maybe a little less than a year. And then we had at that point we had the opportunity to rent the house that we lived in the basement of when we first moved to Idaho. It was just crazy. So life was turning around, right? And what I'm gonna cut it off right there because that's so many things in that story. I made some boo-boos along the way too there, but when I said all that to say this is that, you know, no matter where you are in this life, right, things can always turn around at the drop of a hat, and you don't know if you're not careful, and you can run into something, right? I ran into the best thing that ever happened to me, you know, because of even though I stumbled and fell many, many times, God said, okay, I'm still going to bring you your blessing, right? I'm still going to bring you what I promised you. I'm still going to give you the gift that I have for you. No, even though I stumbled and fell, right? So I'm telling you, anybody that's listening to this, just because you stumbled and fall, just because you made some bad choices, just because you didn't do it right the first time, just because, does not mean that you're going to miss what God has for you, right? It may look that way. You may be in the midst of it and say, okay, God, why hast thou forsaken me? You're going to say that 1,000 times, like I promise you. I did. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, we just had to continue to believe and know that something was going to happen. It may not be what you wanted, but it may happen. You know what I mean? So that is the end of this is the end of chapter 15. Listen, stay tuned. Stay tuned because there's still some weird stories. Even though I'm talking about my blessing and this and that, and God did, I still made some messes. Plenty of them along the way. So make sure you guys stay tuned. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget, May 1st, Knucklehead Chronicles podcast goes live on Podbean. May 1st, BS3 Network TV on Roku, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you join us, man. If you have any questions, show ideas, join us or hit me up. Knucklehead Chronicles podcast at Knucklehead Chronicles podcast at gmail.com, man. Check us out. Leave me an email. Until next time, man, you guys have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't fry your brain too bad. Come back through and give me another chance. You can listen on all platforms and visit us at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, in the words of the incomparable Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other.